Welcome back to 27 News. I'm Victoria Calhoun, and I am now joined by Laurie Harrison with the Riley County Emergency Management. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about emergency preparedness this morning. So maybe just a little bit on maybe a two-parter here. How do you prepare, and then what are the three key elements?
So let's start with the three key elements, and that is to have a plan, make a kit, and stay informed. So having a plan is really just, what are you going to do in case of? And now's the time to do that while we're not having severe weather. Right. It's the time to think about where you're going to go when we do have severe weather. Where do you take shelter? Putting your kit together, that is a very personal item to do because everyone's household is different. So whatever you're going to need, put in a kit if you have to evacuate, food, water, some clothing, some different items, so whatever your family needs. And then the stay informed is very important to learn what's happening, what continues to happen, and what you need to do afterwards. So finding ways of getting that information. Right,
and then even, what if a family has pets or even emergency kits for vehicles? I mean, any advice on that?
So the disaster supplies kit really focuses on evacuation and things you need to survive. So having a kit in the car, having a kit at the office, in your home, all great places to have a kit. And they all may look different because obviously if I'm at the office, it's going to look a little different than my household kit. So think of things that you may need, again, that water, maybe a protein bar, a snack of some sort to keep going at the office. So things to think about.
I think it's really important too that you mentioned that each household's kit may be different than others. I mean, I tend to be a little bit of an overpacker, but I always go by the saying, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Yeah. So I think that is really important as well. But even just kind of, we'll move on to the differences of weather watches and warnings.
Yeah, so you'll hear a lot of that this spring with the weather that we're going to be getting, the watch and the warning. So a watch is really to watch the sky, watch the news, watch what's happening because the ingredients are there to make an event happen. And so we just want to be aware, we want to watch that. And then a warning is that has all come together now and we are having an event, whatever event that is. Because you may hear this with a tornado, you may hear this with severe thunderstorm, flooding. So just remember that a watch is to watch what's happening and a warning is taking that shelter immediately.
And then is there any way that somebody might be able to remember that a little bit better? Maybe an analogy or something?
Well, we hear people talk about the taco analogy or baking a cake where there's ingredients.
Absolutely.
And so, you have all these ingredients set aside, but then when they all come together and they make the taco or they make the cake, then that's the warning. So we have the event. So we have things that make things happen, and then you have the end product.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure to have you this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And also staying informed, remember you can do that by downloading our free 27 News app to get live updates from our weather team just in case. And with that being said, we'll send it back over to Gabriella for another look at the weather heading into the weekend.